Hey folks, nice to see ya. My name is Dustin Cormier and welcome to How to Rock Astrology. Today we're talking about Sun in Pisces with Mars in Capricorn. It's a continuation of our Mars and Capricorn series. If you want to hear a little bit more about Mars and Capricorn and what it means to have Mars exalted here in Capricorn and how good it is to have that placement, feel free to check out the Mars and Capricorn video. Essentially, we just break down the fact of the big picture is that Mars's outgoing, impulsive energy is reined in by the yin, calming, sort of exacting, rational reason and discerning influence of Saturn. And that's really what Mars wants to do. It wants to be logical. It's an outgoing energy that is our logical drive, and it shows how much we can use our rational reason and ambition and stick to it and push ourselves towards delivering with it. We need to organize our lives somehow. We need to hold on to our lives somehow, and Mars does that. When it's in Capricorn, it does that very well because Saturn reins in the impulsive, outgoing energy of Mars. This can be doubly good for a Pisces Sun. Pisces Sun already has a bit of a scattered energy because it's a mutable sign. But this, I will tell you, happens to be probably the second best placement of these two of this combination for the Sun and Mars. The reason is because the Sun and Mars here are both so close to exaltation, basically. Saturn is exalted in Capricorn, and the Sun is one sign away from its exaltation point, which is Aries. And as I always like to say, exaltation actually works by proximity. The Sun is in very close proximity here to Aries, which means it's right next door to being exalted. So the Sun here is, when it's close to Aries, it gains like a self-realization. It learns to push through life by what it is, not what the world expects it to be. That's why the Sun is debilitated in Libra. It's weaker when the Sun is weaker in us when we're looking at the mirror of the world and trying to fit ourselves to it. It's better when our self comes out and we fit the world to what we are, right? It's just like any good plant has to fit its environment, but it's bound to ultimately grow best in an environment that suits it. And the Sun in Pisces puts itself in a place, in an environment. It makes the world candor to the ambitions and goals of the Pisces because it's driven by Jupiter. Now, I'm a tropical Vedic astrologer, which means that I use Western measurements, but I like to pepper in Vedic wisdom whenever I'm doing these videos. So, consider that whenever I talk about these Vedic things, it's me adding an old bit of wisdom to what is the Western. This is essentially a Western reading. So I don't go back a sign. I don't do the Vedic sidereal chart or whatever. In Vedic astrology, it's considered that Jupiter anciently ruled Pisces. As a tropical Vedic astrologer, I consider that Jupiter is the main ruler of Pisces, and Neptune is like a secondary figure, a secondary ruler. Now, the Sun here does very well, not only because it's close to exaltation, it's close to Aries, but it's also in the sign of a friend, that being Jupiter. Jupiter is a natural friend to the Sun. What Jupiter is, how Jupiter projects itself, automatically caters to that positive, uplifting, outgoing impulse energy from within, the inspiration that the Sun seeks to go by. Jupiter provides for the Sun by being the Lord of Pisces here. So the reason for that, let's just digest really quickly. Why is the Sun friends with Jupiter? Have you ever considered that all of the earth and air signs are ruled by Venus, Mercury, and Saturn, while all the fire and water signs are ruled by the Sun, the Moon, Mars, and Jupiter? That's why Sun, Moon, Mars, and Jupiter are considered best friends in Vedic astrology. I wonder if you know what I mean. Like, consider that, Gemini and Virgo, air and earth, Mercury, it's ruled by Mercury. Consider Venus's rulership. Venus rules Taurus and Libra, earth and air. Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius, earth and air. So those three planets get along together. They're more about the lunar stuff, relationship, communication, responsibility, earth, arta, wealth, the things outside of us, resources. Whereas more of our impulses, our inspiration, our soul leanings and yearnings come from the fire and water signs, right? Aries and Scorpio is ruled by Mars. Sagittarius and Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, fire and water, right? Aries and Scorpio is fire and water. Leo and Cancer are fire and water. So that's why the sun here is in the sign of a natural friend, ruled by a water sign. The sun does better in water signs than fire signs. So with that being said, the sun is in the sign of a natural friend. You should consider that Jupiter should be close proximity to the sun in order to be a great friend, as we call it in tropical Vedic astrology. The point here is that the buoyancy of Jupiter, the inner inspiration, you know how they say Sagittarius and Pisces people? Pisces can be very mute and soft and quiet, but they're actually wacky from within themselves. They're very just moving, and they can be so blah, very artsy, because they can just express human archetypes, and they'll say funny little mystical things that everybody gets, even though everybody, it doesn't necessarily make sense to the situation, but Pisces will just say what their just intuitive expression is, and they don't care if it doesn't land on everybody's ears, because what matters is that it was funny to them. If it's funny to them, it's funny to somebody, and it's usually everyone's like, oh, I get it. I get what you just did there, even though I don't understand it. That's what we love about Pisces. So Pisces is well served with that kind of goofy, fun thing. Sun in Pisces is right next door to Aries again as well. Now, so there's lots of good to be said about Sun and Pisces in general. The fact that we have Mars and Capricorn here reigning in that Sun and Pisces energy, it's a very powerful and beautiful thing. Because the Sun and Mars are both outgoing planets. They're bursting out from within. And when they have some kind of influence to reign in that bursty energy, they get to keep, ideally, they get to keep the burstiness, that outgoing spirited impulsiveness, and they get to keep hacking at that while still somehow reining it in. Nothing's better for anyone with any positive Sun and Mars placement than to have Saturn in a good, strong place. But this relates to that. Okay, so we've got Sun in Pisces, ruled by inspiration, by Jupiter, by buoyant optimism, faith that whatever I do is going to work out, and just this mystical calling of what feels good and inspiring to the spirit. Pisces can be quiet, doesn't need the glories of other people and other planets. They can softly, quietly, a janitor can make an ocean of bliss out of a dewdrop of experience if they know how to find the cosmic joke within themselves. Pisces are the people who can be janitors and get just as much bliss, go doing their own quiet job, finding a deep mystical pattern of the ancient ancestral chord of harmony just by simply moving a mop against the backdrop of ceramic tiles in a dirty old basement that no one sees them. They see the ancient chord of all meaning of life in these simple, quiet little things. And that is just part of what's the beauty of Pisces. They can magnify small experiences to be bigger things. Now this, because of the Mars in Capricorn, this is a Pisces that eventually learns to go by its whimsy, can do quiet little things and quiet little jobs. But this Mars in Capricorn is going to bring the cream to the top so that whatever job that they do decide to do is actually going to have some rolled up sleeves and a focused, diligent concentration and a mind that is capable of bringing a discipline to rein in, again, that outgoing energy. Pisces is an outgoing energy for the sun. It's a little bit wet, a little bit woo, kind of like fun, just kind of like spontaneous sometimes and whack. And all of this whackness is a good thing for the sun, but ultimately it's an outgoing energy, the sun, in an outgoing place, Pisces. Most Pisces can be a bit loose. They can be very soft, very intelligent, certainly, but, especially including men. Men with Pisces energy, it's a feminine energy. It's the yin dimension of Jupiter. And so it's sensitive, it's receptive, it's deeply, deeply sensitive. And a lot of Pisces men have to go for a long time, learn what the faith in themselves is, learn how to have heartbreak, and to deal with the fact that you need to speak your truth, say what you want, and move opinions, move things around with your willpower in order to be the best that you can be. And they often take a little while to grip that. But once they do, and they typically do, once they're older, past high school, 20s, they start to feel like their optimism is actually a good thing. All the pressure of high school and weirdness tends to dissolve, and they begin to become happy with the truth of just Pisces brings out a modest, earnest enjoyment of the quiet things of the self. And that's all juicy. The fact that Mars is here in Capricorn is, again, it's going to rein all this in early, so that this outgoingness of Pisces, the frilliness, is always going to have a discerning grasp, a grip on some kind of attainment, some kind of grip on a skill, a something that can be shown to the world, that people can recognize as an attainment that they can climb steadily, progressively towards, to get to a point where that wild, still fun and goofy sun in Pisces all of a sudden has many avenues through which to constructively express this fun, whack, ambitious energy that Pisces has. Deadly combination. Like I said, it's one of the second best Sun-Mars combinations in most regards. Now, with all that being said, this is a good little description of just this combination in general. What I want to do now is talk a little bit about the juicy sexual energy of Pisces. And we're going to talk now on a more interpersonal level about how this Mars and Capricorn will bring out the cream of the best of Sun and Pisces interpersonally. This little reading is going to come from Erotic Astrology by Phyllis Vega. This first bit, again, it's particularly just about Sun and Pisces. Sun and Pisces in bed, Sun and Pisces turn-ons and turn-offs. Eventually, at the end of this, we're going to read how does Mars and Capricorn complement the Sun and Pisces. For now, just consider this Sun and Pisces, and I'm going to add little bits of my own inspiration as to what this means for this whole combination. Sun and Pisces in bed. Although the fishy, sidewinding Pisces are not normally sexually aggressive, they're among the most beguiling and alluring individuals in the zodiac, with their quiet, mystical magnetism. You don't need to pursue love as a Pisces, because love generally has a way of finding you. The fish often comes off as shy and quiet in public, but in the privacy of the bedroom, you blossom into a sensual and creative lover, adoring both playful and passionate sexual encounters with your partner. And the softness, this receptiveness of Pisces, again, is enriched by the discerning, willful willingness to stand and say your truth that Mars and Capricorn brings. It's kind of what I wanted to say, is that while Pisces can be very mute and receptive, the Mars and Capricorn allows this Pisces to be that. And it's so precious when you have someone who can be soft like that and vulnerable and listening and finding out all of your dreams and desires for you. But then the Mars and Capricorn says, we can do that, I have the tools. We have the technology. You want it done? It's coming. This is a Pisces that figures out what you like and then goes, oh, I know how to put that together. It's the Mars and Capricorn really brings that out. Now, for Pisces Sun in general, in bed, you like to combine the real and surreal. So your lovemaking becomes a creative hyperstate where most anything is possible. If your lover is the type who enjoys indulging in role-playing games or other flights of erotic fantasy, you're primed to go all night long. Again, it's the Mars and Capricorn that can keep their mind, like, whenever I've done role play stuff, and it's a lot of fun. I got some Scorpio in me, and I like to play that kind of thing. And it can be tough because you're trying to put your mind, it's like, you're trying to be sexy, which is such an animal lusty thing. At some point, once it gets to the end of it, it's like, for me, sometimes I'm playing the game, and it's just like, okay, so are we done with the thing? Now we can get into the juicy part where we're banging, and it's hard to keep your mind disciplined while rolling on top of the water wheel of your own erotic energy. This is a Pisces that can loves side directing, being there another character, another person, just coming up with this random slice of inspiration. But the Mars in Capricorn has never letting go of the game. The game is being played the whole friggin' way through, no matter what. And I'm going to get to the end, and I'm going to kiss you softly, and I'm going to exit as the character. And then come back in and say, did you like that? Was that fun? That's this kind of like Pisces, is that like that firm grip gets you through the game while still having that wet, erotic fascination that Pisces has. As with so much of Pisces' life, love and sex is a magical tour of mind, body, and soul. Pisces possesses a kind of sexual electricity that is almost magnetic, and this mysterious quality works as an aphrodisiac in the game of love. Sex as a complete spiritual and physical union makes you feel safe, free, and uninhibited. Naturally kind and compassionate, the act of pleasing your partner is second nature in and out of bed. Love can be particularly scary for the fish, but when it's right, it has the power to transcend all limits and transport you to a new world. That's just how Pisces works. It's the Jupiter is so willing to drift off into some mystical fascination or another. Now, the specific turn-ons and turn-offs of Pisces. Sex for you is a beautiful fantasy in which you merge and blend with your partner to become one soul. The lover who inflames your imagination is the one most likely to set your libido on fire. You crave romance with a capital R, and a romantic getaway for two is often the first step towards making your erotic dreams a reality. The feet are Pisces' major erogenous zone. Most Pisces enjoy having their feet held, bathed, stroked, and massaged, and toe sucking can drive them into a sensual frenzy. Pisces' sexual cravings can be somewhat unpredictable and often encompass a wide range of erotic fantasies. It's part of the fun with this combination is that Sun in Pisces is spontaneous. Maybe we should try this. What do you think of that? And the Mars in Capricorn is always one step behind it. It's like they know that the king wants to play. The Sun is the king of the chart. The king in Pisces wants to play, wants to explore, wants to enjoy going somewhere. And the general, who's the right-hand soldier, who delivers the directives of the Sun, the soldier is one step back, saying, my lord, I know you want to play, and whatever we go into, it'll always be play. We'll always have fun with it. But I know what resources we need, what psychological things we can apply to get the best out of this fun playing. And so that's why, again, this becomes, like the unpredictability of Pisces is enriched by the solid reliability of Mars and Capricorn. The Mars in Capricorn is reliable no matter where the spontaneity of Pisces takes this person. Reliable at the back, spontaneous in the front. Great combination. Driven by emotions as well as physical desire, you crave a bit of drama in the boudoir as a Pisces sun. There's just a sort of fun realness that you like to tap into. When you get bored, you may yearn for a dream lover to come and whisk you off to some wild and exotic love nest. Barring this, you get off on the fun and excitement of fantasy-inspired sex games. You are particularly fond of little presents, especially if the gifts are seductive garments or sex toys designed to increase pleasure and excitement. All very fun, juicy Pisces stuff. The thought, the insight, the bringing into the exciting promise of more excitement, more stimulation, more enjoyment of ultimately our souls having fun, just blah, being children together and just blah, getting into that liquidy wildness. Any thought, any tease, any, hint at that sort of consciousness makes the Pisces' eyes just go wide. I'm like, what you thinking? What you thinking? Now that was just all sort of the consciousness of Sun and Pisces, and I did bring my own thoughts about the Mars and Capricorn relating to it. Now this next reading is specifically the same author, a combination reading of the Sun in Pisces with Mars and Capricorn. How does Mars and Capricorn affect this psychoerotic chemistry of the ecstatic Sun in Pisces? Sun in Pisces, Mars in Capricorn. Behind your serious facade, there is a whimsical, humorous side to your personality that makes you a great deal of fun to be with. In your love life, you come off as self-contained, but you actually crave love and affection. Behind closed doors, you're a carnal, sexy, and generous lover. You intuit your partner's unspoken desires and instinctively respond to them. Even so, spontaneity is not your style. You don't much care for unplanned encounters, preferring instead to set up sex dates in advance. Wonderful. You intuit your partner's unspoken desires through the Pisces and instinctively respond to them through the Mars and Capricorn. Mars and Capricorn is a well-trained soldier, and the Sun in Pisces is a blissful, receptive, exciting poet. Makes for, as we can see, a very juicy combination. I know I keep saying that, but this is like I said, it's a very strong placement for these two things. A huge part of what will describe the health and sexual psyche of this person depends on where Jupiter is. Hopefully your Jupiter is close to your first house. That's where it has strength. Close to Cancer. That's also where it has strength. And hopefully it is aspected by its friends, not aspected by Venus or Mercury, its enemies. In which case this can make this person driven by material lust that they can get well with, and even egotism at the expense of the real true soul exploring that this person seeks to have. It's because Venus and Mercury are like enemies to Jupiter, as they say in Vedic astrology. There's a lot to unfold there, but generally this is again a great combination. You can't let that go to your head and think that you're a great lover or anything like that. Your Venus and your moon will tell you more about the emotional nature of your love. Jupiter will deeply ground the power of the sun to attain its inspiration that it's really seeking, which is what that Mars in Capricorn is really, for all its goodness, that's what its goal is to enliven and enrich and deliver the ambition of the sun. With this combination, you shouldn't have too much trouble doing that. And the sun will have inspiration and will live by it by being in Pisces, especially if it's not ill aspected or anything like that. So there's always more to consider, but generally, I hope that you are having fun with this combination, my friend. So I'm Dustin Cormier for How to Rock Astrology. Hope you guys dug this. Feel free to leave a comment, ask me a question. And if you liked this, feel free to leave a like and even subscribe, because I've always got more stuff coming out like this on my channel and in my life. I got more of these fancy things happening. Eventually, we're going to do Moon and Venus combinations. So stay tuned for that. I'm Dustin Cormier for How to Rock Astrology. Thanks for watching, folks. And I'll see you guys on the Flibbity Jibbity. Later.